Good morning, my name is Kate if you're new to my channel. This morning I'm going to be doing 4 high protein breakfast ideas. It's back to school in New Zealand next week and I'm just trying to get a little bit of prep done, a little bit of organisation ahead of time. I'm a mum of 3 teenagers, well they're kind of young adults now. My eldest daughter is 19 and my son is 18, almost about to turn 18. And then my youngest daughter is 15. I work full-time outside of my home as well, and I'm just looking for high protein meals that are going to benefit both my kids and myself. I'm in my late 40s now, so perimenopausal, and I'm just really aware that protein is key for teenagers and their growing and development, but also for a woman of my age as well. So the recipes I'm going to be doing today, sausage and egg McMuffins and some protein pancakes, egg muffins, and then also some overnight oats with protein powder in them. I'm going to try and make them as budget friendly as I can. I'm on a single income, so I'll give some little tips and tricks along the way as to how we can make these a little bit more budget friendly. And it is worth noting that a portion of each of these recipes is going to give you at least 30 grams of protein. We will talk more about this a little bit later, but I'll show the protein breakdown with each recipe. This packet of sausage meat is 450 grams and this cost me about $5.50, I think it was, from the supermarket. So I've got 6 muffin splits. Divide this sausage into 6 pieces, obviously. So I'm going to prepare the sausage patties and the eggs first. I've got my oven on to about 180 degrees Celsius. They can go into the oven together to cook at the same time. I've got my dishwasher unloaded and I have got my bin nice and fresh and clear, so that everything can just work, fairly seamlessly in the kitchen today. So I'm actually gonna just make these a little bit more flat than what you want them for the size of the muffin, because they probably will shrink a little bit. This is quite sticky, this particular sausage meat. Now, depending on what you can get from your supermarket, you may even find sausages, actually in the casing at a good price per kg, cheaper than what you can get this sausage meat at, and you could just squeeze the sausage meat out of the casing. If you manage to get something on special or a good deal, then that would be a good way to save some money on this. So I've got my sausage patties here on some parchment paper. It's just going to help with the cleanup afterwards. And now I'm going to move on to my eggs. So I'm going to do 1 egg per muffin. You want to get the largest eggs that you can find for the biggest protein hit. And I'm actually going to just try cooking these eggs a little bit differently today rather than cooking them individually. I'm just going to beat them all together, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then spread them out into a tin and cook them that way, so they'll come out as one big sheet of egg, and then I can just cut it up. So these are done now, so I'm going to pop these into the oven. The egg is going to cook quicker than the sausage, but we'll just keep an eye on those. I'm just going to start toasting these muffins while my eggs and my sausage are in the oven. You don't have to toast these, but yeah, they do just give a little bit of an extra crunch to them if you like that kind of texture.
So, protein. Now, you can and should do your own research into the importance of adequate protein. And of all the days to be living in, the information that we can access now to make good informed health choices is huge, and it's all there waiting for us. Just a caveat though, I have read that there are a minority of people that shouldn't have a high protein diet. So, obviously, speak with your doctor if you aren't sure. Whether you are a growing and developing teenager or a peri or postmenopausal woman, protein is necessary for optimal energy, muscle mass, and bone, skin, and gut health. And it's especially important, really, from our 40s onwards to maximize muscle mass for mobility, bone structure and function, energy, and just overall longevity. Dr. Mary Claire Haver, I'm sure you've probably heard of her, has amazing knowledge, experience, and information for us menopausal women. And generally, she recommends 30 to 35 grams of protein each meal. But this is, yeah, based on, your weight and a few other factors. So have a listen to her information. These recipes use a lot of eggs as they are a great source of protein, and in comparison to other protein sources are still relatively cheap. You can get your protein from plant or animal sources, but it's just going to be harder to get 30 grams per meal of plant-based protein versus animal protein.
This egg has been in here for about 10 minutes now, and I think it's pretty well done. You don't want to overcook it, but it's just firm to the touch now. So that was 10 minutes, didn't take long at all, and then I can just cut it into slices for the McMuffins. I'm just going to put the bacon in here now with the sausages while they're still cooking. So I'm just making the honey mustard dressing for these sausage and egg McMuffins. I'm just going to put equal parts of honey and mustard. You can use, grainy mustard, smoother mustard. I'm just using a mild American mustard here. So I'm just going to mix those together, and then it's just going to get brushed onto each of these toasted muffins. I'm going to let everything cool down, my bacon and the egg and the sausage patties are all cooked now, but I just need to let them cool down before I can put these all together. So while I've still got my oven on, I'm going to make the next recipe, which is egg muffin cups. These are super easy. The main ingredient is eggs, which are obviously a super cost-effective way of getting your protein into our bodies. The recipe does say that a serving would be 3 of these egg cups, for breakfast or however you're going to have them. You could even have them for lunch or dinner. And then also to put alongside it a half cup of cottage cheese, but I'm just going to bump up the protein in this recipe with some black beans. I feel like these are going to be a little bit more cost effective, and just trying to get the nutrition into one serving rather than having to add sides in at the same time. So we're going to be using 12 eggs for this recipe, and it's going to go into a muffin tin of 12 muffins, just a standard muffin tin. So essentially we're going to be getting 1 egg per muffin. You could bump up the protein, as I said, using some kind of bean. You could add cheese in there. You could add LSA, which is like a linseed sunflower almond mix. That's a little bit more of a cost involvement, but if you had it in your cupboard, then you could add pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, chia seeds. These things are all going to just bump up the protein value. So we're just going to whisk these together, and then I'm simply just going to be adding in some veggies. The recipe does call for grated zucchini and some diced onion and some chopped up peppers, but I'm actually just going to be using some frozen veggie mix, and I'm going to try and have the ratio of about a cup over 3 muffins, so that if you have 3 muffins you're getting also a cup of veggies in, you know, for that first meal of the day. So those are all whisked now. We're just going to add some salt and pepper. Also going to put some dried herbs in. You could put fresh herbs, you know, parsley, fresh parsley would be nice. And then I've got these prepared scallions or green onions, so I'm just going to use those instead of an onion as such. And then I'm actually just going to use these black beans, and I'm just going to sort of mush them down a little bit. Not completely mushed, but just broken up a little bit so that they're not a hard bean in your muffin. Okay, so there's my beans. Just going to add that into here. You could add some, you know, other seasonings as well, paprika, cumin, chili flakes if you like them a little bit spicy. And then for the veggies, you can choose any kind of frozen veggie that you like. Obviously you can put in fresh veggies, but just for ease of convenience and time, then frozen veggies are a great, you know, budget friendly way of getting your vegetables in. So for 12 muffins, and I'm wanting to have a cup of veggies over 3 muffins, so I'm going to put 4 cups of these frozen veggies into my mixture. This mixture has got broccoli and corn, carrots, peppers, cauliflower, so it's a really good just general mix. Oh, my hands are freezing. 4. These are still frozen, so they can go into the oven like this, but I'll probably just let them thaw out a little bit before I put them into the oven. So I'm just going to start spraying these muffin tins. These are actually quite a large muffin tin that I've got, so they should be able to fit all the veggies as well. I've just got a coconut oil spray here that I'm using. Smelly. Don't want them to stick if we can avoid that. And then I've got my mixture here. I'm just going to try half a cup and see if that will work okay in each muffin. Obviously if it's a little bit too much, then I might need to decant into the next one. Hopefully these are actually going to be big enough, considering that there's quite a lot of veggies in there. I'm just trying to get sort of equal amounts of each of the veggies into each one. Some of these chunks are quite big, the broccoli and the cauliflower, so I don't want them to, you know, be overfilling the muffins too much. So I have just got enough egg mixture for each of these, but I'm just going to take out some of these veggies that are overfilling these ones. But I'm happy with how these have turned out. I was going to put some pumpkin seeds on top as well, but I think they're just a little bit too full for that. I have got this more than just a bagel seasoning, which I got from Costco recently. In fact, that was my last video if you want to go and see that. New Zealand only has one Costco in the whole country, so we did a little tour up there, which was fun, and had a wee look around. So I'm just going to pop some of this seasoning on top, which will just give it a nice little crunch on the top and a bit of extra flavouring. It's got sesame seeds, you know, white and black sesame seeds, onion powder and garlic powder and salt, so that will just give it a little bit more seasoning. There you go. So I'm going to pop these into the oven. They're probably going to be in there for, I would say, a good 20 minutes on 180 degrees fan bake Celsius. So while those egg muffins are in the oven, I'm just going to do a bit of a tidy up here and get my dishwasher loaded while they are cooking.
Now, if there's one thing I know to be true about being able to keep up with all that needs to be done around the house on a daily basis, it is that meal prepping of any kind and regular decluttering is key. Food prepping, if you are a working parent or are a person who has a lot of responsibilities, is one way that you can take a weight off your shoulders, especially if you come home tired or have after school activities, etc. It's definitely a way that your past self can help your future self. And decluttering, simplifying your belongings, just means that you have less stuff to manage, store, and clean. It can only be a positive thing. So I know that in this coming week, I'm going to feel so much less stressed about the busyness of work and school with this meal prep that I'm able to do this morning.
Let's move on to putting these sausage and egg McMuffins together. So I've got my egg here, which I'm going to cut up, and then also my bacon, which I'm going to cut into half, and half will go onto each muffin. I've got my dishwasher on and most of my knives are in the dishwasher. I actually only need 3 pieces of this bacon to make the actual muffins. So this egg worked quite well. You can see it's just like a flat sheet of egg, which you can easily chop up into the size that you want. So I'm just going to halve it and then slice it into 3 pieces each. And then this will mean that it's 1 egg per muffin, which is about 6 grams of protein just with the egg. So let's put all of these together. I'm going to pop a slice of cheese onto each one here. I think my kids are going to love these. It's probably not so much my cup of tea, but I think, yeah, in terms of like a McDonald's type McMuffin, then the kids are going to enjoy these for breakfast, and they can just grab one, you know, out of the freezer the night before, and we can just let it thaw out, pop it in the microwave, or just heat it in the oven again. The cheese obviously will melt, you know, a little bit. It would also be a really great, you know, grab and go snack for, you know, after school, if kids have got clubs and things like that on, or even just, you know, something quick to grab for lunch. So there you go. Sausage and egg McMuffin. I'll wrap these soon once they have, you know, cooled down completely.
The egg and veggie muffins are now cooked and ready to come out of the oven. They did spill out of the tin a little while cooking, but I can just cut that away and try some while I'm taking them out of the tin. They are super yummy, by the way, and smelt delicious. The tops went brown and a little crispy with the bagel seasoning on top, and the vegetables give them a fibre hit, which is great. Now, you would need to eat 4 of these to give you the protein goal of 30 grams. 4 of these equates to almost 35 grams of protein. But you could have 3 of them and then bump up the protein with cottage cheese or something else high protein. They are a great breakfast, lunch, or on the go snack. Moving on to a quick and easy protein pancake recipe, which doesn't use any flour at all. I don't usually like pancakes as they never quite fill me up and they can just make your tummy feel heavy and a bit blah. But I really enjoyed eating these with plant based yogurt, berries, and maple syrup. I had them with. So I quadrupled the recipe to allow for enough portions to last us a week for one person. A portion would be 4 of these pancakes, and they are high in protein because of all the eggs and the protein powder in them as well. I use pea protein as I don't tolerate any dairy proteins. The ingredients are oats, banana, eggs, milk of any kind, baking powder, cinnamon, and protein powder. You simply whiz it all together in a food processor until smooth. I had to do this in 2 batches as my processor is not big enough. And then cooking just like a normal pancake. I started with 1/3 of a cup measurements, but changed to 1/4 cup measurements as they just worked better in my pan. If the kids, like these, then I don't think I would go back to a normal pancake batter. They freeze really well and could be heated in a toaster or the microwave. They are not a sweet pancake, but if you paired it up with fruit yogurt and maple syrup, they are delicious. A nut butter would also be great with them.
This last recipe I'm doing is an overnight oats with protein powder. This is a completely vegan recipe. It's got oats and dairy-free yogurt in it, and chia seeds, and protein powder, and maple syrup. I have adapted the recipe a little bit just to make it a little bit easier to make and store in your fridge overnight. But I'm going to make a week's worth of these up and pop them in the fridge, and I'll just show you how I do that.
So I'm sure most people would be familiar with overnight oats in some way or form. There are loads of recipes online to make these, but what bumps this recipe up in protein is the protein powder. I have used pea protein, but whey protein would be fine as well. The recipe has rolled oats, milk, dairy or plant based milk, chia seeds, yogurt, maple syrup, protein powder, nuts, although I replaced the nuts with pumpkin seeds, and then fruit as well. All of these ingredients contribute to the protein goal, so you would need to include all of them. The recipe called to mix all of the ingredients together and refrigerate overnight. I only put in 1/4 cup of oats instead of 1/2 cup, and I increased the milk to 3/4 of a cup, as it was just too gluggy otherwise, especially once the chia seeds had gone in and they soak up all of the liquid. And I left the yogurt, the fruit, and the pumpkin seeds to be added once I was actually eating it. These are great as you can just make up a few days worth at a time and pop them into the fridge until you use them. They would be a great breakfast to take to work or even a sweet protein snack if you feel like something in the evening. They add up to about 31 grams of protein with the changes that I made.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join me. I'm just enjoying these pancakes, protein pancakes. They are super delicious. So yeah, go ahead and make some of these recipes. I will obviously link the recipes down below for you to go in and have a look and try out. I know my kids will be excited to try some different breakfasts this week, and hopefully they will stay full for a good part of the day, whatever they're doing. If you would like to see more of these kind of videos around cooking, cleaning, decluttering, anything that's going to help a full-time working parent or working mum or just a busy parent out, then that's what my content is about. I do a lot of decluttering and just things that I know would help me and therefore hopefully help you as well. So please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.